getting over the past, why we are stuck in the past, and how do you get over the past. There is an author, his name is Terence Real. He puts this quite succinctly. He says, if you don't feel it, you live it. There it is. It's almost as simple as that. We don't get over our past, we keep reliving and repeating our pasts when we choose or are unable to feel our stuff, to feel our pain, to feel our trauma, our shame, the challenges that we haven't quite got over, the fears that we are suppressing. When we don't feel it, we are destined to repeat it. That's what destiny is. It's an accumulation of all the conscious and unconscious choices, decisions, thoughts, emotions, expressions, interactions that we have within ourselves and with others. And when that is left unchecked, we suffer. When we experience pain, when we experience trauma or a traumatic event or a hurtful, painful, harmful experience, we will often suppress that as a coping strategy or a defense mechanism. If it's too intense to deal with in that moment, at that time, we will almost file it away and lock it away into a memory bank or a filing system within the self. Now, the intention is to deal with that sometime, but not right now because it's too intense right now. But what happens is we never really deal with it, but it remains within us. It still drives who we are and how we behave, how we interact, and the relationships that we have. It places us in a deficit. It limits our expression. We say to ourselves, consciously or unconsciously, and more so often than not, it's unconscious, we say, I don't want to have a very similar situation to that again, just in case I'm hurt. I don't want to experience giving myself just in case I'm hurt, just in case I'm rejected or I'm told that I'm not good enough or that I become abandoned by those that I love. What if I give all this love and give myself and open up my heart and I become vulnerable in the relationship and I tell the truth and I'm honest and I'm present and my energy and my time and my awareness and everything, all the resources that I have, and it doesn't work out. So the ego, or the protective part of self, it's just there to protect us, does a really good job of building a case and almost building evidence, collecting evidence as to not to go down that path. And so once again, we get slammed and stopped in our tracks, don't feel. But we keep living that pain that we're not feeling in a perpetual way. It's consistent. We just can't make the connection, the linguistic or neural connection to it. So we wonder, why am I having these distressed relationships? Why am I having these devastating relationships? It seems like I'm experiencing something very similar, the patterns that I'm experiencing, the dynamic itself, the way we interact with each other, but it's with a different person. But I am the common denominator. What is happening? And so again, before we continue to explore that at greater depth and really allow ourselves to feel maybe the core wounding, the inception of that pain or that pattern, we pull ourselves back and we distract ourselves. You name it, alcohol, television, excessive socialization, pornography, excess work, whatever it may be. We distract ourselves, and it's not a deliberate conscious distraction to find some reprieve. Yes, we are finding some reprieve, but it's not done in a healthy way. It's done in a way that limits us and cuts us. And so we continue to experience the pain. Remember, what we don't feel, we continue to live. And so why is it that we can't get over our past? Well, we like to think we're getting over our past. We like to think we're making new decisions, we're spending time with new people, maybe it's a new career choice. But internally, has anything changed? Do we still feel anxiousness or anxiety? Are we still scared to give ourselves in relationship? Are we still scared to put ourselves out there, take risks? Are we still scared to express our truth? Are we living to someone else's values and not ours? Are we maximizing and prioritizing others over our own needs, i.e. people pleasing? Are we making the same choices effectively that we've always made? See, one way to get over our problems of the past, or to get over the past, whether it's a heartbreak, whether it's someone has done something to you, you've perceived someone to do something to you that has hurt you, Maybe it's how you've been yourself and you're carrying internal guilt and shame. Maybe you cheated on a spouse or a partner. Maybe you deceived a close friend. Maybe you told many, many lies. Maybe you were in jail for something. Maybe you did something against society and that was a part of your life that you can't get over and you're shameful about still and you're guilty about. The only way to actually get over it really is to integrate feeling into the thoughtful processing of that pain and of that difficulty that you experienced. Otherwise, it will be stuck and lodged in your body and in your being. I don't want to say forever, but for fucking longer than you would really like. And so it's one thing to intellectually, thoughtfully process trauma or difficulty or pain or problems or the past. That's one aspect to it, and rewriting the story will help rewire your brain and your belief systems around that thing or that event or that experience or those sets of experiences or those people. However, you must feel. Now, we sometimes think, in our society we have a collective dominant values, and one of them, and this is changing a little bit, but it's not changing that much. And that feeling is wrong. Feeling is weak. And feeling is reserved for females and or the feminine, which is a completely convoluted and confused way to look at something that's intrinsically natural within every single one of us. Feeling is not reserved purely for females and or the feminine. Not at all. We need to feel. And the example I often give is there was a northern Maori tribe that would come back from war, and they would not be allowed to be integrated into their society, into their village and community until they had spent time at these hot springs and they had expressed themselves in the pain of war and had shed their anger and their tears and expressed their trauma, and they would be nurtured by other elders, and they would be nurtured by other females, and they would not be allowed to be integrated back into society until they had cleansed themselves and cleared themselves. They felt that disharmony, that disconnection, that pain, the fear, the trauma of what they experienced, so they wouldn't bring that back and project that into the community. These are warriors, these are tough masculine men. Yes, they were strong masculine men. Feeling's an intrinsic part of us. One of the areas that governs feeling in our bodies, in our brains, the limbic system. We all have one, unless of course we don't, but we're born with a limbic system. We're born with aspects of our body and our being that regulate our emotional expression. We all have this, and when we suppress that, we're suppressing an intrinsic part of who we are. We feel fractured. We feel broken. We don't feel whole. And so in part of that letting go of the past and forgetting the past and healing the past is a movement towards feeling whole and not feeling broken and fractured. Now, you're not broken or fractured, but you may feel that way. And if you perceive that and you really believe that, then you'll probably behave in alignment with those beliefs. I know I did for so many years, and I still do. No one's immune to that. We will behave and we will act and we will express in the world and give and receive in accordance with what we believe is real and true. Now, here's the opportunity. We can keep living in the past, keep living in fear, keep living in isolation, keep forgetting who we truly are and what we're really capable of. Or we can make a decision to experience for some of us, very intense pain. I know it was very intense for me. I know it was deeply, deeply intense and very challenging and most of the time overbearing for me. However, choosing to feel my stuff and really facing the past and facing the initiated trauma or difficulty that I experienced, the pain, the core of that pain, and allowing myself to experience it and feel it, and at the same time supporting myself, so I was becoming more integrated into me, and also having support around me, was a fucking game changer. It lifted me, it shifted me, allowed me to see myself differently, my self-worth elevated, my sense of self shifted. The way I then gave myself to the world completely changed. I loved from a different place. I allowed myself to receive because I deemed myself more worthy to receive. I lifted this massive burden off me. Now, how did I do that? Because there's a how to this as well. Now, There are so many modalities out there. I used many. I went down a shamanic path. I'm a continual, perpetual student of the shamanic traditions, various shamanic traditions. Namely, at the moment, I'm focusing on Peruvian shamanism. Spiritual healing, energy healing, psychology. So Western psychology played a role. Eastern mysticism and Eastern philosophy. Practices of solitude. Practices of silence and stillness. There are so many modalities that you can leverage in the how, but you've just got to feel. Now, it's not as easy as that. You may say, well, Steph, how do I just feel? I mean, it's really painful. How do I go down that path? Pendulation and titration. That's what it's known as in neuroscience. And so it's this slow, methodical exposure to something that's very uncomfortable. You don't want to throw yourself in. Well, sometimes you can, depending on who you are, but it's not my recommendation. So it's slow exposure whilst receiving support, whether it's professional support or interpersonal support from loved ones, family, friends. Don't do this on your own. You're a relational being. You're a social being. We are social beings. We're not made to do life on our own. That's another fucking fallacy that needs, that's a myth that needs to be debunked. That we're meant to be autonomous and do it on our own. Now, do we need to have elements of autonomy? Do we need to be self-reliant? Abso-fucking-lutely. We have to be self-reliant. That's a big part of being an aware, conscious, elevated human, is being able, even our first port of call, once you've really dug up the past and you've cleared it, is to come to self. Be self-reliant. Believe in who you are. Trust yourself. Trust your being. Trust all of you. That is necessary to be self-reliant. However, in our society, we're over-independent. We're hyper-independent. And it's distancing us. It's creating massive separation. And that hyper-independence is causing us to remain stuck in our stuff. And we remain stuck in our stuff because we literally cannot do it on our own. We can't go there completely on our own. We need some support or guidance. So clear up your past. Feel it or you live it. It's as simple as that. And it's as challenging as that. It's as complex as that. But I believe in you. But it doesn't matter what I believe in. I believe in the human potential, human capacity, human brilliance. But you need to believe in you. Slow, methodical exposure with support. Trust yourself. And if you don't know how to trust yourself, learn to trust yourself by being curious, exploring, and seeking support in the interim. That will serve you best. Feel it so you don't have to continue to live it, and you get to choose who you want to be in the present moment. You get to make decisions based in the now, based on who you truly wish to be, based on your values now. That's empowering, and that is liberating. Here's a call to action for you. If you feel called to, if you feel that freedom wanting to bust out of you and you're not sure how, I assist people with this every day of my life. I'm committed to this journey. I'm committed to this path of service. It was done for me multiple times over, and I'm here to serve in that way as well. If you feel called, send me a DM. Let's talk personal coaching. Let's talk one-on-one coaching. Let's talk relationship coaching. Power and blessings to you, people. I'll see you soon.